Hello, my friend. My name is Anton from Conduct.com, and today the first Python class we're delivering on our blog platform. The discussion we are going to continue today started the last week where we start speaking about the Python variables, and today we speak about the new type of the variables, which is the list. List is one of perhaps most popular types of the variables because it is used everywhere. If you need to list anything, when we speak about network automation, for instance, list interfaces are the router, list routers in general that are part of certain part of the network, and any other things what you need to list, like access list, entries of the access list. These all are things when you have some called the siblings to each other. So I mean, not the hierarchy, but some sort of the information that you need to provide all together. And today we will speak about the list, how you could create it in Python, what are the main functions for working with list, so how to add elements to the list, how to remove them from the list. Let's take a look on our Python VM. As usual, I start sharing my screen. And here we go. So starting with our machine, so it's up and running, the standard VM we are using with our Python. We go to the Code Express folder. We create a new one subfolder for this first lesson. Go inside this subfolder and we create a new file. You remember we need to take a look on the Python path, which is provided in each and every Python script. So we need to put this at the first. So if you're interested why it is so, watch the second video of our classes. So for now, I will create a new Python script. Let's call it Python complete list, something like this. So .py, so we go inside, we provide the path to this Python interpreter, and we could start working right now with this script. So the variable, the list is a variable, so meaning we need to create it using the same approach we was doing the previous session, the standard one. Name of the variable, space, equal sign, space, values. However, as a list, it has some specific syntax. So the syntax is that all the values of the list are provided within a square bracket. So let's create a list which we would call network functions. So say this list contain the name of the devices which are exist in our network. So as you see, we put the opening and closing square brackets, which means this particular element is list. So now within the list, we need to create some elements. We could create an empty list and then add the elements using certain function, or we just create a list already with variables. Let's take a look for the second option, first of all, just to get you some ideas how it could work with separated elements, and then we'll take a look on the first case. Let's add some routers like router 1, router 2. That would be enough for now. So just 2 elements in our list, and to verify the content of the list, we use the same print and format function we have used previously. So let's make a print the whole list, and we provide the name of our list. We don't need to provide any particular index here. It will just it is not needed right now. However, what we could add, let's execute our script right now. So we do it executable. We execute our list, and you see that we print, we get in our CLI standard output. The who list is the elements provided inside of our array. Let's take a bit look inside to discuss what's happening there. So the values, or these guys, are called elements. So this is our elements of our list. Each element has an syntax index. Sorry, that's why we could call any particular element if we need it using this index. So the element is index 0 is And what you need to remember that index starts with 0. So the first element of our array has an index 0. The second element has an index 1, and so on and so forth. So if you are like not very familiar yet with this programming stuff, so you have to do, or you have to be, because otherwise will be just yeah, would be not easier for you. Just remember, index starts with 0. So we create this, add a new print line, which are using the format function with shell type for out the first element out of our array or our list called network function. So array and list are interchangeable names. So official pipe name is list. However, in some other programming language, might be called an array. So let's execute our script once more. You see that this time we get just the value of our 0 element without any quotes. That's important stuff. So just to speak a bit more about this. Inside the array, we provide, or inside the list, we provide their variables in the format exactly in the same way like we were doing previously for our normal variables, I mean non-list variables. If it is string, we provide the value within the quotes. If it is integer, I mean any numeric data, we provide it as a number without any quotes. If it is Boolean, we just provide true and false without the quotes. You could mix in a single array different data types. There is no any limitations about that. Let's verify this. We will create a new array called mixed list, and we would have something like router, and then 3 or 4, and then 2, and we can print the mixed array, the mixed list, and we getting the content of this list. Let's execute it once more. Here we go. So as said, you could mix if it makes sense to you. Perhaps it doesn't make that many sense. However, there's an also option to do this if you need it. So in the next sessions, you will learn another type of the data, which is called Python dictionary, which is more like suitable for mixing different data. But we'll speak about that when we will speak about Weichen vector. For now, this is enough. As said, this was a way when we create the element or the array and elements within the array just in the time when we define our list. Let's create a new file. Let's call it simple or empty list. And we change its operational mode. So here we go. So I copy this once more. So in this case, we will create an empty massive. Let's call it network functions. So to define the empty massive, list, we just put the open and closing brackets and nothing inside. So to verify that there is nothing inside, print we provide the content of this particular array, so it shall be empty. Let's verify how this construction will work. So we could execute this file. So we provide an empty, the output is empty list because it is empty right now. So to add the element, there are two options. So if we want to add an element to an array, just one element, we would use a function called append. This function is applied to the array variable. So in the way like we was providing previously, the dot format function was applied to the string. So in this case, you could understand that there is an object or there is some information to which you apply their function. So in this case, once we apply the function append, we apply it to their list variable. So that's why we put dot, and then we provide the name of the function. So the name of the function is append. So it takes an element and add it at the last one to our list. So we could take router 1, and then we could take this print, and let's take a look. So again, append, you provide here the name of the element. You could provide again string data, numerical data or boolean. However, you could also provide here inside a name of the variable if you have the name of the variable defined previously and didn't contain some value. So let's verify how this script works right now. So you see we have successfully added the element to our list. If you add the next one, it would be added later. It would be added after our element. So that's why it is append. It adds at the end another element. Let's take a look. So we add another element using the append, and now we should have 2 elements in our list. That's it. So the new element is added after the existing one. If you want to add not a single element, but rather to add content of certain list to another list, you could use another function which is called extend. So extend is applied or typically works with the another list variable. So you could add also the single element, but you need to think about this list structure, if you like. So we will use this function right now. So let's put the name of our list. We add this new function extend. So the syntax is pretty similar. However, I said it works with the array, so we need to put here on side in the list, and we will add here router 3 and router 4. So we have added 2 new elements. So we actually not added just 2 new elements. We extending our initial array list with another list, actually not with the list, but with the elements. So basically what it should do, it should take this element and should add this element to our initial array. So let's execute, and here we go. You see, we have added the elements in the proper way. What would happen if we use append and instead of providing the data value, we will provide an array? We will see the strange construction, or so-called 2-dimensional list. So we will have an inherit, or at the element of our list, there will be another list. So this is happening if you use append function, and input to this append function is a list. Other way around, so if you take a simple variable, value, whatever, string, integer, and try to add it to our list using extend function. If it is string, it's just making some weird stuff like breaking the whole word in a single digits or single letters, characters, and adding each character as a separate element. Obviously, this is not what you're looking for. That's why, remember, append for elements, extend for lists, add an input. So the last thing that we need to take a look in this video would be the way how we could delete the elements. So we have created this list, and let's work further with this. So there are 2 also way how we could delete this element. We could either remove the element using index value, like we would like to remove element number 1, 2, 3, 0, whatever, or we could remove the particular the element with a particular value inside. These functions work slightly differently, and let me show it to you. The first, we will we will use the removal of the element using the index. Once we remove the element using index, we use a function pop. The interesting thing that once we remove this element using this function pop, which is also applied to our list variable, so we could, so this function provide the value of this element. So meaning we could, so we are removing the element out of our, so we don't have 4 elements, so let's take an element 1. So this function takes the value of the element we are deleting and assign to the variable. That's why we are getting this value which we could work on. Let me show it to you. So create your list is and removed element. So we could right now add here the second argument to our print function. So here we go. We execute it one more time. You see that after we have deleted this element, the value is stored locally in this variable. And now we have a 1 element less in the array. So we have removed the element with index 1, which is the second element of our list. So the second function which exists to remove the element out of the list is called remove, right, natively. And the difference to the pop function that the input to this function is a particular value, so it will look for the element with a certain value and remove it. It doesn't return you back any value. What temp value, what pop function do? It just remove the element with a certain value. So, and that's why let's do the last function for this video. So we do it at the network functions dot remove. We need to provide the exact name, what we are looking for, say router 3. We remove and we print what we have left. Here we go. So we could try to assign this the result of the function remove to a certain variable. I mean, to take a look if it is really not working or just trying to lie to you. Let's try it. So temp2 equal to the network functions remove, and we could add here same construction then, and removed element is, we try to print this data. Here we go. You see that the removed element is none. So this function does not return you back any value in comparison to the pop. So again, to sum up what we have in these functions, pop, the input to this function is an index of the element from the list you'd like to remove to, and this function returns the value of this index once it removed out of the list, and they remove just looking for the first match of the element, and I mean, it looks for the value of what you put to the input to the function. So the input to the remove function is exactly the name, not the main, the value of the element, either string or boolean or digit, and it removes the first element, and this function does not return back any sort of value. So, and that's pretty much it for today. Thank you for your time. Thanks for attending this video. If you like it here on the YouTube or any other social media where you have watched this video on. Subscribe to our channel, repost is always welcome. Thank you very much. See you the next time.